everyone, welcome back to Stones Hill Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Kim, and today I will be making Zuppa. It is an Olive Garden copycat recipe, and I'm just doing it in one pot, and I am making a small batch. Often when we see these cooking recipes online, we see for big family cooking. And that is great. This recipe can be increased for that. But it's just me today, and I don't want to have a whole crock pot of Zuppa. As much as I love it, I can't eat that much in a short period of time. So this recipe is only going to make 4 bowls or 4 servings. Now, granted, my serving might be different than your serving. It says 4 servings on the recipe, but I'm just gonna roll with it here. And I'm gonna say what the recipe says. 4 bowls, 4 servings. To begin with, they want you to fry up bacon. And it takes 3 ounces of bacon, and chopped, fried up. Then you remove the bacon from the pan. I'm not doing the bacon at this point because I already have pre-cooked bacon that I'm using, and so I will be doing that. So I'm going to fry up this ½ pound of ground sausage. It's actually more than a ½ pound because we like our soups and stews a little bit meatier, and so I am using just shy of 1 pound. This was butchered and pre-packaged from the butcher, and this was one of the smaller packages, so I know it's just shy of 1 pound. It calls for spicy hot sausage. I don't have a spicy hot sausage, so I am using the regular pork sausage. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, as well as a pinch of red pepper flakes, and this will give you the same spicy sausage that the recipe calls for. And I'm going to get this going and just get some grease in the bottom to start up this soup. Since I don't have that bacon grease, I'm just going to work on getting this sausage fried up in this pan. And I am going to add some bacon grease to this for flavor alone. If I would have fried up the bacon ahead of time, I would have reserved a tablespoon of bacon grease for this recipe. So I just went ahead and added some bacon grease, and then that will give that pork sausage some great flavor and also help with frying up the sausage. And here you see me adding 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning to that ground pork, and that will help with the spicy and the Italian flavor that you need for this recipe. I didn't have spicy, so now I'm going to be adding crushed red pepper flakes. It says a pinch, and I just shake a generous amount in there. We like to have that little bit of spice in there. And there you go. Now we are just going to continue to cook here and make sure everything is well blended and mixed in with that Italian seasoning and the crushed red pepper. And I just want to make sure that it is completely cooked through before we go on to the next step. I've already diced the onions and minced the garlic, so I am just waiting for this to get done. And the sausage is done. We're going to be adding a medium onion. It's your preference. It says a half a medium onion. I did add more like a whole medium onion of diced onion. And I'm just going to get this all mixed in. I don't do well in the garden with onions. I don't know what my problem is with that. So I do get these onions from Azure Standard, and they are absolutely delicious. And I continue to get that sauteed so those onions are soft. This recipe calls for a half of a bulb of garlic. However, I'm only using 3 very large cloves from my garden garlic. It will be more than enough, but feel free to add more garlic than what I'm doing if you want. And there goes the garlic. And we will saute this for about a minute. We just want it to have a nice fragrant smell in the air. We don't want to burn anything. And we just want to make sure that we get this all mixed up and those flavors are all through. And here we will be adding a whole quart of my chicken stock that I made earlier this year. It calls for 3 cups, but with the recipe I'm making, I don't want to have a cup of broth sitting in the fridge. So I do add the whole quart here, and it calls for 2 additional cups of water. I begin by only adding 1 cup of water here. And I soon realize I need to add another cup because the kale is dehydrated. And that will absorb a lot more of that liquid. And I don't want a stew consistency. I more would rather have a soup consistency. So there you see me adding that water. And we're still waiting for this to come to a boil so I can add those potatoes and bring those up to a boil. We are also going to be adding 3 cups of my dehydrated kale. I ended up adding the full amount of kale, and in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that. And I'll show you that I'm adding another cup of water here to accommodate for that kale. And here go the potatoes. We're going to bring those up to a boil. Once these are tender, then we will be able to add in that kale. And you will soon see in this process that I think 3 cups of diced kale or chopped kale is more than enough. And the boiling is done here, and I'm going to quickly check these potatoes to make sure they're nice and tender with my fork. And I see that, yes, they are definitely tender. They are good to go. So we can now add the kale. And here you see me adding the kale. And we're going to give that a good stir. And then we will be able to finish this up for this wonderful afternoon. And it's a nice cozy soup to eat for a rainy day. And here you see me adding my half a cup of heavy whipping cream. And we're going to give that another good stir. And as soon as that all comes back up to a low boil, we will serve it up and get ready to eat. And here you see me putting the soup in my bowl with my bowl cozy. And it's really nice. The bowl stays warm in that, and you don't burn your hand from the hot soup. I really enjoy having those around. And here you see the zuppa. I'm topping it with Parmesan cheese, and this is where you would also add that bacon if you've made the bacon for this. The crumbles of bacon would go on top, and I've added a piece of sourdough there on the left-hand side. So I just want to thank you for joining us, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, be blessed and laugh as much as you breathe. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you on the next video.